Gender fluid, it's just clothes. Runaway siren. I don't know who this person is. Hang on, let me just look at their channel quickly. I have a couple more things queued up. I don't want to be like, okay, this is more of a skeptical thing. I'll hear them out. Hey, listen, I might agree. I have a lot of reasons to believe he's a trender. I mean, he's on TikTok. It's kind of, just that alone is kind of difficult. It's like whenever you see a person with like DID on TikTok, like it just instantly makes you think this person's full of shit. I don't know. Yeah. Like TikTok is the worst place to be if you don't want people to think you're a trender. Let's put it that way.
The idea that you can switch from being male to female gendered or any other number of recently identified genders based on mood, and it's not controlled by anything, and you can't actually, measure it in any way. In other words, it's not really any different from any other gender identity that has come up during the past 10, 15 years, except that there's this...
Josh Seiter is satire. He's following Libs of TikTok and Ollie London on Instagram. Fair enough. I follow Ollie London on Twitter, but I have no idea why. I think I just get a kick out of this fucking Ken doll looking motherfucker being a right-wing grifter, because that's what he is, let's face it. He seems like one of those people that just throw themselves at any community they can that will take them. Yeah, listen, I listen to radfams, I listen to trans people, I argue with both of them everywhere, so hey. But I'm probably going to agree with this, because gender fluid, clothes, yeah, it all seems like trends, it all seems like fashion to me. And I'm open-minded to it not being, but people just want to talk to me like shit whenever I bring up a mild criticism, So, hey, maybe they want me to think it's fashion as well.
Really weird, just defensiveness over gender fluidity, wherein those who claim to be gender fluid, and majority of them tend to be female, they refuse to see the misogyny inherent in claiming that wanting to wear comfortable clothes or non-revealing clothes or non-sexualized clothes makes them male, and wearing more sexualized, attention-grabbing clothes makes you more female. And rather than just view this...
Do I have opinion on the sex binary spectrum stuff? I firmly believe that sex is a binary. I think intersex is what's normally used to make out that it's a spectrum, but as far as I can tell, intersex are just various different disorders that can affect either a man or a woman, depending on what the disorder is, and that people follow certain pathways. To me, it's one or the other. I think if you want to call like gender a spectrum, then I guess, because what even is gender? You'll get 10 different answers if you ask 10 different people, but sex, I think, is binary.
As personal style and enjoying a variety of wardrobe options, they see it as an innate gender identity, which...
I had it. Who was it? Some fucking weirdo on Twitter was trying to tell me that, like, he was, like, leading me through all these questions. Like, do you think that human biology is A, complex, B, simple, C, this question offends me, this kind of shit. And we kind of got... Basically, the idea was, because human biology is complex, that means that sex can't be a binary. That seemed to be what he was trying to push me down, but never actually said that himself, because if you actually say that out loud, that's stupid, I mean, a fucking dog's biology is complex in some ways, or a deer's, or a cat's, or a sheep's, So yeah, people say a lot of weird shit about sex. I don't know why. Just accept it is how it is, and that whatever gender you are, or call yourself, or identify as, if you believe in that, it doesn't really trump your sex,
It's, I guess, no more silly than the rest of it. But when you look at them, at these videos, these TikToks and posts and whatnot, there's always this argument that gender isn't clothes. I promise it's not clothes. Well, it's stereotypes, and a lot of those clothes are stereotypically...
The problem is, if you're going to say gender isn't clothes, and then someone is like, well, what is it in your opinion? And you don't have a response for that, then their thought is going to be, maybe it is just clothes, because they have a huge problem with me saying so, but can't give an alternative. I don't know.
Assigned to women or men to wear. But you know what? You don't take it from me. Here are some TikToks with some gender fluid individuals. See if you can guess if they're male or female, talking about gender fluidity.
See, this looks like someone trying to be gender fluid. So it kind of seems like the clothes are the gender in this instance. I really don't like the two songs at once though. I'm not into that. That person looked like Ariel Scarcella. This is just women's clothes. Like, what's gender fluid about this? This is just like cottagecore. I don't understand. My eyes are getting dim, sleep time. My niece Molly wasn't as so beautiful. He's now called Eric. I'm gonna drag away my kicking and screaming. Listen. Like, good luck to them. I don't know. I never know what to say about other trans people anymore.
And of course, this girl thinks that she's being super revolutionary because she's applying makeup too to make her face contour to a more masculine visage. And again, that's just clothes and makeup. You didn't prove anything. You're still the same person, still female, still of the sex that produces ova. You didn't change anything but your style. And if that's what you want to do,
yeah, she just looked better in one of them than the other. All right, well, good to see you. Thanks for checking my shit out, you know.
go out, go ahead. I have fun. I don't see a problem with that. But pretending that changing your outfit and applying some makeup changed who you are as a person is just incredibly diluted.
Here's 5 signs you might.
It's always very telling. Like, you get so many of these DID people that all of their different alters have like different genders and like pronouns and all this shit. And then they'll do all like the makeup and stuff and like wigs and shit to like dress as each person. I wonder if every time they have a supposed switch that they have to run to the fucking closet. Like, oh shit, I'm in town, but I look wrong. I'm gonna have to run all the way home and like fucking change. You know? I don't know.
Might be gender fluid. At least they were for me. Number 1.
Jeez, how old is this person? Like, fuck me. This just makes me feel like, what if my dad came out and started doing this shit one day? Like, it just doesn't bear thinking about. And it's terrifying that age isn't really like a factor in a lot of ways. Because like old people do this shit too.
You have tried to be trans.
I've tried so hard to be trans, but I just can't. Like, what does that even mean? Especially these days when supposedly being trans is just calling yourself trans.
There are some days that you just aren't.
So what, some days you just forget you're supposed to have a whole new pronoun, you're supposed to have a whole new name, or what, is it just that you realize you don't actually want to go on hormones that'll mess up your body for life because...
You know what, sometimes I feel like I want to wear leggings, and then on other days I really can't wear leggings and I have to wear jeans. I have to wear jeans instead. Does that mean that I'm gender fluid? Or some days I'll just wear like a t-shirt, but then other days I might wear like a vest top and like a nice jumper or something. I might be gender fluid.
Because of the negative impacts? Or is it just that you realize it's not fun on some days to go ahead and play pretend? Which one is it?
And you know you're not cis. Number 2, if you've ever tracked your gender fluctuations.
You're too old to say stuff like that. Just don't. Leave that to the cringy fucking kids.
To try to get sense of this whole thing.
What are you tracking?
I have just come out as gender fluid. Yeah, that was a huge moment.
Like the stereotypes you conform to every
Oh yeah, I'll check it out. Thanks for coming.
day? Do you just go throughout the day and go, huh, I slept on my side, and that's a feminine trait. Check. Oh, okay. I pushed past someone on the sidewalk today. That's masculine. Check. And then at the end of the day, tally it up and see what gender you were.
Here's the thing. I wonder, you know how like a lot of like trans and non-binary, queer, etc. people are like obsessed with like representation, like in movies and games and TV? Sometimes I wonder whether it's actually representation or it's more like inspiration. Anyway.
Because to be honest, this sounds mentally ill. You know, I feel like most people, hopefully those of us who are relatively functioning adults, just go about our day. I will throw on a dress sometimes for work, or sometimes I'll throw on shorts and a t-shirt.
Nah, everything I do, like when I get out of bed, I get out of bed in a trans woman way. I get out of bed as a trans woman, okay? I'll go and put the kettle on and have some tea as a trans person. You have to understand the innate queerness and transness of every activity I do, such as when I pick up my phone, you know, as a trans person.
I don't think it through beyond, what did I last wash? Or what can I get away with hiding the stain on? I don't understand why you have to go through this whole process if it was so innate and natural. Would you even really be checking these fluctuations?
Tracking your gender, like, clears everything up. Number 3, you taught yourself.
Checking these fluctuations?
Tracking your
Tracking your gender. What does that mean?
Gender, like, clears everything up. Number 3,
You remember the days pre-queer being a popular word? Vaguely. I hate the word queer. I don't use it. If people want to call themselves queer, they can. Just please don't call me it. Because I don't know what it means. I don't like calling myself things that I don't know what it means. I'm not going to use like neo-pronouns because I don't know what they mean. I think it's just like spicy straight. It's like, well, Q is in the acronym, and when we're not using queer to mean just everyone, which also drives me insane. I watch RuPaul with my partner sometimes, and like some of the people are just like constantly going on about queer people this, queer people that. It's like, I don't know. I just don't like that word. I don't want it used to describe me. But yeah, I think it's just trying to be part of the fucking gang, you know. It's just part of the acronym, one of the oppressed people. I know plenty of people who've taken on trans identity with absolutely no changes to anything about themselves. People just want to be part of a community, I think. And if there's a reason to dress like a spastic while doing so, people tend to like that as well. So
you taught yourself to tuck or pack or tried on some fake boobs and it felt so right that you cried so much that you didn't want to take them off, but then the next day, they didn't feel like anything at all?
I can't relate. I'm sorry. I can't relate to that at all. I got punched when I was 8 and called a queer, so I've never used the word to describe myself. I'm sure I've been called queer, probably. I got called like the F word a lot. But yeah, I mean, I was perceived as like a gay boy growing up, even though I wasn't gay. I guess I've always been kind of effeminate.
Yeah, you know, when I was in high school and I was a cheerleader, I actually tried binding for a little while. And trust me, binding when you're doing physical activity is stupid as shit. And I learned that very quickly when I could not breathe. And then the previous, wow, I'm so glad I can.
Oh my God, you tried binding? That means you must be trans. You must be the most trans person that ever transed.
Wear this button-down shirt and nobody will be staring at me, and the creepy men on the way to the library aren't going to be flirting with me, and at a glance someone would say sir or young man, and that felt great, not because I was truly a man inside, but because I was escaping misogyny. But that escape from misogyny was brief, and it did not outweigh the physical discomfort of binding.
Yeah, you can like break ribs and stuff binding. It can be quite dangerous. I haven't obviously done it myself, but you can.
Which is, I'm sure for penis havers, you can have a similar sentiment.
Number 4, you have come out at least 3 times as 3 different things. I'm bisexual. No, I'm pansexual.
This is just trend hopping. How is this not just trend hop? I mean, pansexual. If you come out as bi and then pan, like at a certain point, it is just like trend hopping. Sometimes I feel FTM transition is just to escape the sexuality women experience, male gaze type shit. I think for some people, yeah, it depends. What was it I was saying about earlier? Yeah, I definitely think there's probably women that think that transitioning to men will give them like male privilege and are not really prepared for the reality of being a man in society, being someone that people are instantly suspicious of or women are fearful of, you know, bit like that. I feel like pansexual is just bisexual and attention seeking. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's 2 sexes, so I don't see how there is anything but bisexual. With my FDM friend, it feels that way big time. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I don't know. I wouldn't know where to begin with trying to suggest to someone that maybe they've transitioned for the wrong reasons. I don't know. Because I see plenty of it in terms of like trans women who seem like they're into it for like some sexual reason or something, or like the way they've described what made them want to transition, it's a bit like, what the fuck, you know? But I don't know.
No, I'm trans.
So 2 of those things were the exact same thing. One was just more
True.
pretentious, and the third thing was I like to be gender non-conforming sometimes and want a label that won't make you bully me. So you really only came out twice, and only one really made any sense.
No, I'm gender fluid. No, I'm a gender fluid trans woman. No, I'm... And number 5, let's really drive this home.
I just don't know how like an older man can say these things with a straight... I mean, he's got the disgusting fucking pride flag behind him. Fuck this flag to death. We've got this going on. I don't know. I probably can't judge, but I don't know. I'm not saying all this shit when I'm in my fucking 50s or whatever this guy is.
No, I'm gender fluid. No, I'm a gender fluid.
Imagine your dad saying this shit. Fuck me. Someone that you looked up to when you were younger as a protector of your family or whatever, and then you get a bit older and he's saying like this shit. Like, oh my God, I would die of embarrassment. Like, I would actually just, it wouldn't be like suicide or whatever. I'd just die. I'd just drop dead from embarrassment if I heard like my dad come out with this shit. By the way, what is going on here? Is this real? Chat, is this real? Like, his mustache looks utterly fucking weird. Hang on.
And only one really made any sense.
No, I'm...
Something looks really weird about that. I don't know if he just shaved like the very top bit and that's why it looks strange. But it doesn't look natural to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Gender fluid. No, I'm a gender fluid trans woman. No, I'm... And number 5, let's really...
There's one trans woman who posted a video of her blowing up the trans flag. Her name is Truthful TS. I think I follow them on, or her on Twitter. I might have seen that actually. I saw the video of Lawrence Fox burning the progress flag, and I do not like Lawrence Fox, but I found that video funny because I don't like the progress flag either.
Really drive this home. If you want to start HRT and transition, but you're more scared about losing something than you are about regretting the change, you're probably not going to regret anything, and you're probably gender fluid.
If you're that indecisive,
What?
And number 5, let's really drive this home. If you want to start HRT and transition, but you're more scared about losing something than you are about regretting the change, you're probably not going to regret anything, and you're probably gender fluid.
Oh, so you're probably not actually trans. Maybe, I don't know. Unfortunately, we conflate like trans and non-binary and gender fluid and all that shit because it's all trans identities now, which I don't know.
if you're that indecisive, you probably shouldn't get a tattoo, let alone start HRT. Because let's for a minute pause here. And just as I have recapped in like 300 videos at this point, the detriments of HRT.
I'm getting Peter Pan syndrome personally. I don't know if this guy's going to come back on the screen. I'm getting major Peter Pan syndrome. To be fair, I've got it sped up a little bit.
For women taking testosterone, you have higher risk of dementia. You are going to get osteoporosis. Stay on it long enough and you're going to have issues with uterine collapse. You're going to have issues with your vaginal walls getting thin. You are going to have so many health issues that they downplay and pretend it's totally fine and reversible, and it's not. Now, as a guy taking estrogen, you have a little bit more room for reversibility, but it's not going to change the fact that you are going to have permanent changes, and you're not even addressing mental health problems before you jump into it. So I don't know why there's this great advice of, if you're too indecisive to think of a stupid label to place on yourself.
Listen, the thing with like transition, when I started transitioning, the kind of advice what few people I spoke to about this kind of thing, like on the internet, it was very much a case of, you need to be absolutely sure about this. Like, you need to know that this is the way your life has to go. That was the kind of advice that I would hear, like in 2014 when I was thinking about this shit, you know? Whereas nowadays, it feels very different.
Then you should go ahead and just consider taking hormones just because. Because obviously you wanting to wear different clothes and different...
Yeah, people treat this shit so like disposably. I have a good mind to like try and find... There's one of the British people... When I started this channel... Hang on, I'll make this make sense. When I started this channel, one of the things I watched was like, you know, panel shows, like trans people going on TV to debate people that were anti-something that they were for. There was this man, I'm not sure, called Felix Fern, and they talked about like detransition and like they were disabled and took testosterone but had to stop. And then later on they were like complaining about like getting gender dysphoria from having lost all their hair because they took the testosterone. And they were talking about like how, I take hormones and then I stop and I desist, and it's just not a problem. It feels so like disposable. It feels bizarre to like treat trans as like a disposable thing. Non-binary for the most part doesn't require surgery. Can still be encouraged for non-binary people. Yeah, definitely. Bizarre. I mean, I don't ultimately care if someone calls themselves non-binary as long as I'm not expected to have any conversations with them about it because I just don't care. But at the same time, these people like will call themselves trans when they change literally nothing about themselves, and that bothers me because that's how is that not appropriative? Like, why are we somehow the only ones that don't get to have a problem with like appropriation, for one thing? And for another thing, it suggests that trans isn't a huge process that, you're changing permanently, like things about your body. Like, there's a huge amount of commitment to some of the stuff that you have to do if you're trans. And like cutting all of that out just feels extremely strange, especially just to satiate like who? Like, but hey, it completely took over like trans communities, and they're completely uninhabitable if you're not queer and socialist or anarchist, and if you're not polyamorous or some shit, you know. So it is what it is, and hey, now it's everyone's problem, I guess.
Days means that you're definitely, you know, in the right state of mind to call yourself with this new label and still get on hormones. Okay, sure.
The girl boy, not girl, not boys, who not girl, not boy, girl boy. Floger boy Lynn.
Very much boy right now, so this is the fit. I've been wearing this.
Yeah, this literally is just clothes as gender. How is this not a fashion movement? I don't understand. I don't want to think it's a fucking fashion movement, but no one ever answers anything I say, so it's kind of like, okay, maybe it is then, because none of you fucking people understand. You're in a poly relationship with Bella Gotho. Hi, Glitchy Charizard. That's a really dumb name, by the way. I'm joking. I love you.
This all morning. It is 12 and I'm still feeling boy. I have all day.
I'm wearing a t-shirt. Am I feeling boy? This could be worn by a boy. It's just a band t-shirt. Boys could wear this. Does that mean I'm like gender fluid? I think it must be.
It is now a few hours later and I did my makeup and got all femme because I'm feeling so girl right now. And yeah.
Like, what's this got to do with your gender? Like, you're just wearing different clothes. You have the ability to look kind of masculine and kind of feminine. Like, okay. I don't know why that's a big deal, personally.
This is the fit. This is the makeup. Yeah. It is now 9:30 p.m. and this is probably the last time I'll be...
This looks more like a DID video than a gender video, I'm calling it.
wearing a fit. I'm feeling very much agender feminine, but still like no gender. Yeah.
So as we have established, gender fluidity is just changing clothes in the same way that all trans.
It kind of comes across that way. I don't know. I would like to get more information from someone that actually seems to give a shit about this shit, but no one seems to give a shit about it. It just seems like one big joke. So, hey.
Transgender identification is essentially an acceptance of stereotypes, either as an escape or as a fetish of some sort. Same thing goes here. Except instead of wanting to commit to one or the other, it's just sometimes I like to wear comfortable clothes and sometimes I like to wear sexy clothes, and they call that gender fluidity. So the thing is though, why do people come to this conclusion? As you can see, there are guys, obviously, who do this, but I've noticed it a lot in girls. And I would say it's because of the recognition that objectification and sexualization is pretty much inescapable. I'd consider myself pretty gender nonconforming. I call myself butch. Sometimes I wear dresses, though. For the most part, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt every day. I've got the short hair. I'm definitely not wearing makeup, painting my nails. And so it's nice sometimes to have that thought, maybe I have been freed. Maybe men will not harass me. Maybe I won't have to worry so much when I go out to drink. And that is the lie. That is a devil on your shoulder, because the truth is there's always someone out there attracted to what you look like.
Obviously, I don't know how many people this really applies to. I definitely would imagine some.
As a woman, there's really nowhere you can go, and
As a woman, I love it.
nothing you can do where you won't risk encountering sexual harassment, not even if you're giving a lecture on the philosopher Immanuel Kant at Cambridge, as Professor EP did recently. I'm going to show you in just a moment why she says, make sure your hair is neatly tied and that you're not blonde, or else your research impact will be on the Spectator libido section. Theater critic Lloyd Evans was in the audience, and this is what he wrote about the talk. Like being chained to a lunatic. That's how a man feels in relation to his libido. And the lunatic latches onto anything, irrationally and without warning. In Cambridge recently, I dropped into Downing College for a lecture given by a beautiful historian, Leah Epi, from Albania, whose discourse included this observation about revolutionaries. Once they attain power, they lose all interest in revolution. Good point.
Oh, that's a good one.
Her blonde hair spilling over her shoulders absorbed far more of my attention than her political...
This is my whole theory for FTMs. I think it's responsible for the majority of FTMs. Yeah, potentially. I'm still exploring, I guess. I'm not an FTM myself. I think it definitely probably does describe some of them pretty well, but I don't know if I'd say all of them.
reflections, and I was desperate to speak to her afterwards, but I had no way to orchestrate a meeting. Instead, he says, I headed for the rougher end of Cambridge near the railway terminus where the misfits and outcasts gather. I'd already arranged a social rendezvous at a private business location. Here's how it works. You hand over a roll of banknotes to a concierge at a desk who ushers you into a softly lit room where your companion awaits you. He did not engage with a single substantive idea from her talk, and when he left there, he went straight to a massage parlor. You may have seen this video that I posted a couple of months ago where I talked about how equating a woman's success to her physical...
Listen, when I hear like male accounts of like male sexuality, that is something that I genuinely do not like. I just don't relate to, really. I think I probably did a little bit when I was younger, but even like then, a lot of the time, the way that men would talk about sex, I would find like intimidating and like weird. I think the film Labyrinth is responsible for at least one wannabe FTM. Yeah, true. I happen to know that's probably true, yeah. I don't know why you'd want to be one of them, but I'm joking, it's fine, it's valid.
Physical beauty, which is part of what this man is doing, is objectification of women. So imagine you have a PhD, you've studied literature and philosophy, you're giving a talk on a very serious topic, and someone in the audience who somehow has a national platform to write about whatever he wants decides that the thing he wants to write about is how you're so attractive he couldn't pay attention to your talk. This is from Dr. EP's website, where she lists some of
And yeah, it's not great, is it?
her degrees, as well as some of the books she's written. And as she notes here, she's won the 2022 Royal Society of Literature Ondaatje Prize and a biography prize as well. In writing this article, Lloyd Evans reduced her from Leah EP, professor at the London School of Economics and thought leader, to a sex object. Going back to that tweet, I don't think it would have mattered how she wore her hair or any other aspect of her appearance. He was always going to reduce her down to her physicality because he doesn't see her as a human with tremendous intellectual capacity. And that is the fundamental problem.
Fair enough. Listen, I didn't tend to have that problem. I don't know. Maybe I've just never been a very sexual person. I don't know. Like I said, a lot of male accounts of like male sexuality feel like kind of alien to me.
And I think that a lot of these girls are in this weird little bubble where like they recognize where the danger is and what it is, but they don't know how to address it or what to do to get rid of it. So instead, and of course they still want to be accepted.
I think like the intersectionality thing is a problem with this kind of shit. Like I mentioned it earlier, but like you kind of feel like there's definitely some that try and buy into like the male privilege kind of shit, and then once they become a man, shall we say, they kind of realize that their socialization was completely different from all the actual guys they know, and it's actually it can become quite a lonely place, because being male can be a very lonely place for plenty of people. And it's hilarious listening to like FTMs try and explain maleness when 99% of the time they really don't understand it very well.
Some level by society. Obviously we all do, and that's why we agree to certain norms and certain behaviors. You pick and choose your battles. You decide to sit down and talk quietly in restaurants because that is the smart thing to do, that is the polite thing to do. But you might decide, yes, I'm going to go ahead and be in a homosexual relationship because that's my mountain I'm going to die on. So in the same way that a lot of so-called trans women will boy mode at work or in important context, a lot of these gender fluid people will dress
those people are amateurs.
Gender conformingly in situations where they'll otherwise be punished for it. And of course, the other end of the spectrum is that there is a group of people who are concerted.
Actually, no, I boy made everywhere. It's called being ugly.
At making sure that we reinforce male and female gender stereotypes, but make it progressive and cool and neat. And so when you have people who are thinking,
Reminds me of that famous video of the woman who tries to live life like a man, later kills herself. Oof. I don't know what that was. You'll have to let me know what it was called.
Why is it a problem when I want to wear like a suit and tie to my sister's wedding? Or a guy going, why can't I paint my nails at the office? All the women do it. Instead of coming to like the end conclusion that gender.
Oh, my thing was like having long hair at school. I used to get told to cut my hair all the time. I used to do my head in like, oh, why can't boys have long hair? Girls get to have long hair. It's like, I don't know. I felt like I washed my hair and I brushed it and shit.
Is a cage. It is imposed against you. It is not a thing you choose. It's not fun. It's not expression. It's a cage. What you instead end up with is stupidity, put it simply.
I don't really know how else to tell you this, but if you saw me...
Oh, what is this person's name? James something. James is smiling. Ooh. That's a username you want, right? Yeah, it was really annoying. Like at school, like I would get told to cut my hair like constantly. I just hated getting my hair cut. Like Couldn't fucking stand it. Like, sitting there looking at myself for ages, people touching my head constantly, which I never wear hats. I don't like things touching my head, really, in general. Yeah, it was bullshit. It really did my head in. I had long hair, but girls didn't really love my hair. I used to attract guys really easily, and I still do, and it's like women just never seem into me, but I'm taken for anyway. I'm spoken for, should I say. So I don't got to worry about that shit anymore, thankfully.
Stupidity, put it simply.
I don't really know how else to tell you this, but if you saw me dressed like this, walking down the street in my heels, pretend I shaved my beard and I had one of these.
Pretend I shaved my beard. What are we pretending about this this forehead?
On my face, you would have no fucking clue.
This chest says otherwise. I don't know if pretending we're taking this off. Anyway, yeah, James is smiling. I think the lack of tits is a problem. I think the AGP dress is a bit of a problem.
And I had one of these on my face. You would have no fucking clue, all right?
For example here, the lie that gender...
I think I possibly could guess, but I don't know. The forehead is a problem. And that person, like, tends to wear, like, all their hair, like, off their face. Which, with a hairline like that, you just don't do. You find ways of shaping it. You can wear your hair off your face and still do it.
Identity suddenly turns women's clothes on a man into women's clothes on a woman. And it makes this idea persist that people, A, cannot recognize sex, which for the most part we are very, very accurate at, and B, that to be a woman means to be feminine and to be a man is to be masculine.
Listen, I don't care if, like, insane people come in because I'll argue with most people. Yeah, you could just open the fucking door. I don't know what your problem is.
And this is being painted as progressive. And gender fluid fits into this regressive, progressive worldview and is further supported from, for example, here, the lie that gender identity suddenly turns women's clothes on a man into women's clothes on a woman. And it makes this idea persist.
Yeah, that really doesn't make any sense. But then I don't understand gender identity, so... Hi. There we go.
That people, A, cannot recognize sex, which for the most part we are very, very accurate at, and B, that to be a woman means to be feminine and to be a man is to be masculine. And this is being painted as progressive.
Yeah, I've never really been down with this shit either. Like, you know, how many of the trans men of today were the butch lesbians of 10 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever? I don't know.
And gender fluid fits into this regressive, progressive worldview and is further supported from criticism because it's related tangentially to transgenderism, and you cannot touch that topic. No, it's beyond reproach. You cannot criticize God or else you'll be sentenced to the fire.
Yeah, and this is another thing, like, it really irritates me that you can't criticize any of this shit. Like, you should be able to criticize anything, and you should be able to have whatever opinion you want, more or less. You know, within reason. Like, if you're spewing, like, active hate for people, then fair enough. But saying things like sex is real, like, it's a bit insane that we're so, like, funny about that shit. Nice, I'm gonna say hi. There we go, that's my first that's my first post on my own Discord. There we go. Thank you for joining, by the way, I appreciate it. I'm gonna end up putting links on my videos, so hopefully I'll get more people. But it will hopefully get going a bit more. I don't know.
Hearsay.
I don't really personally use passing as like my threshold for womanhood. I understand that a lot of trans people want to pass. It's a goal. I respect it deeply. It is not one of mine. It's not.
This chest hair is like, just why? It looks like you forgot. It doesn't look like a conscious choice. It looks like you forgot. Or it looks like forced kind of androgyny. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, people like Sam Smith, you know, just a random man's head with no makeup or anything, and then all this, like, elaborate shit. It's the same hair. Like, does this beard and this chest hair, does this go with the rest of the look? I don't think it does at all. I don't think the bone structure is really working for me. I don't think they're really doing a great job of, like... I don't know, what am I trying to say? I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on people's looks, but at the same time, I don't get this aesthetic, like, at all. Like, androgyny can look great if you look up someone like Brian Molko or something. Or, like, there's plenty of, like, gays and lesbians out there that do really cool looks, like, androgynous. But, like, this doesn't work for me. This looks like it looks like this is just what it always looks like, even when you shave, and you're just kind of working with what you have, and it's not great. I don't know.
How my fluidity functions. I don't live for the validation of other people deciding what they think.
I do not believe that you don't live for the validation of other people.
It's not one of mine. It's not how my fluidity functions. I don't live for the validation of other people deciding what they think that my gender passes.
Yeah, but you seem like you live for some kind of validation. You know what I mean? I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know this person. I have to be as clear as I can with this, even though when people talk about me, they'll never give the same fucking courtesy, but whatever.
As I love my presentation. I don't need your validation from. I do not receive this, and I would really caution you about policing other people's gender expressions, because
well, you can't stop people having opinions. Who cares about policing? Like, fuck me. How many times have I seen in like trans communities, like back in the day, like back when I used to actually give a shit and occasionally try with this kind of thing, people that would like ask for like passing tips, and you'd always have that one fucking loser, if not more, lecturing people on how they shouldn't care about passing, and like they should be trying to break down cis-normative shit or whatever. And it's like, for a lot of trans people, that must be infuriating. Oh, you shouldn't care about passing. Well, I feel like I should have been a woman, so I want to look like a woman because I'm transitioning from being a man to being a woman. Like, fuck me. I would flip my shit if like I was asking for passing tips and that was the kind of shit I got. I would like actually lose it with people.
it's just not your fucking business. If you look at me and you see...
If it's not your business, why are you presenting yourself like this on the fucking internet? Jesus fucking Christ, you are inviting people to speculate on your fucking gender.
Man, that's your transphobia that you are projecting onto people like me, and you're just making the world less safe.
Anyhow, this, dear viewers, is where we part. This is very obviously an unscripted video because I'm not using my announcer voice. And you might have also heard the lizard that just climbed into my apartment squawking. Let me know if you can hear random chirping in the background. And let me know what you guys think about gender fluidity. This was a request by someone a while ago. I break down all the requests in like a Google document, but it's...
I wish I could hear the lizard. I'd rather see the lizard than some of the things appearing here. I don't know. Hey, there we go. Gender fluid is just clothes. That was Runaway Siren 940. It was a decent video, to be fair. I more or less agree. The thing I would, like, I tend to sit here and agree with people, and I worry that people will watch and be like, see, you just agree with all the TERFs. And it's like, well, they're saying that gender fluid is mostly just clothes. Like, that doesn't really have anything to do with, like, trans shit. It's just kind of weird fashion shit on TikTok. Like... There's going to be people that watch this kind of shit and will apply it to all, like, trans people. I'm not doing that, so I don't know.